Alright, welcome back, you frisky little ponies. It's been a little while. Last video we did was us reviewing Unleashed and all of the overnumbers that exist inside Unleashed. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing today. I'm going to do a video kind of analyzing what I think of the overnumbers. And a little interesting thing for you guys is previously when I did this completely based off of the artwork, how I felt about the artwork. And we can do a quick little review of how that went because it was actually significantly better than I would have expected. But I've started playing Riftbound, so now you're hearing everything from the perspective of somebody who at least kind of understands the game. I'm not going to say I'm good on something like TCG Arena, though. I have an exceptional win rate, so I think that's kind of like causation instead of correlation. I think the people on Riftbound or TCG Arena aren't necessarily stepping up, taking names, doing all that cool stuff. But I am now a Riftbound player. So as I tell you these things, I'll give you a caveat. I'm still going to rank everything based on how I feel about the card. Because I think once the sets are no longer in rotation, that's what's really going to matter. People aren't going to care if the card says, for might, the ability to jump battlefields. Like, none of that matters. Once this stuff goes out of rotation and we're worrying about this stuff as sort of an investment piece of history. So, I guess getting into it, the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to look at kind of what we had previously concluded. Maybe I'm a little Lilia forward. I get it. She my girl. She my baby. But that aside, she fell probably to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll say 7th place in the set as far as legends go. I had her ranked number 1, kind of, Oh, okay, so it looks like we were off, a little bit as far as these cards go. Let me scroll this over real quick so we can find that easier. I had huge hopes for Ivern. I was very wrong about Ivern. Ivern actually slotted, I think, as the single cheapest signature in the set. That doesn't seem right to me. That does not seem right to me. Go pick up an Ivern, guys. Pick up an Ivern signature. You're telling me that's the cheapest signature in all of Riftbound is this card right here? What happens when this new set comes out and there's new cards that end up being like, Drop Cat, I think, or Falling Cat? That seems like that's going to be an Ivern specific. If you're able to eliminate some of these, counter spells, defies, whatever it is from play, man, Ivern seems like he'd be really powerful. You get rid of something that clears battlefields, Ivern feels like he'd be really powerful. I guess I'm missing something there, but cheapest signature in the set. So I was very wrong as far as that goes. Lilia was like 7th, but then beyond that, I was significantly more accurate. I picked Diana, Vex, LeBlanc, and if we come over here, we can see Diana, Vex, LeBlanc. Not in that exact same order, but then it was Vi, Pike, Rengar. I think I might have been a little bit off there. Vi, Pike, Rengar! Holy shit! Outside of my two prejudices that were Lilia and Ivern, who they're releasing a box set for because those two champs, they kind of bundle together, nature first. But outside of those two, shit, I was accurate. Okay, so let's get to the ranking of this new one. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to rank it by art. One thing that I kind of did fall short on, I probably would move these Poros all up to A tier and kick these legends all down to B tier. Because the reality is, when the dust settled, I think that the people are going to really like the Overnumbered Poros. I think that's something that's going to keep this set important into the future. And the fact that Baron's in here and stuff, guys, go pick up a box of Unleashed. For real. Like, it's a mistake not to. Reviewing this new art, I guess I'm going to give you my overall opinion right now of how I think this set is in a snapshot. Reviewing all this art, I think the baseline is higher. I think the top end, ever so little bit lower. And I think this set is just about as good as Unleashed. But now the question remains, are people going to like these dueling arts more, or are people going to like these Poros more? And I think people are going to like these Poros more, is kind of where I'm concluding in terms of like collectability into the future. But I guess once the dust settles, we'll be able to see what we think people care about more. These dueling arts are very cool, and I will rank them right now. I feel like they're going to fall in between. Is it just going to occupy the B tier again? Is it just going to be B tier? I feel like A and B tier. Some of them are really A tier. Some of them are really good. I think some of the artworks feel like I don't know how to say this, like Disney Channel almost. I'm gonna open Piltover Archive real quick. Okay, so we have Piltover Archive, we have cards. We're gonna shoot on over to the Vendetta set, this is where you can see all the reveals, get all of your juicy info before it comes out. This will give us a better picture of what we're looking at. I'll rank them on the other page, but real quick, I'm going to come in here and we can look at like the zoomed in. We can look at what the ability does. Even though, just to point out for everybody, a lot of these cards that are these dueling art cards are remakes of cards that are already in the TCG. So this is just sort of like an alternate art, which I'm going to do another video that kind of talks about what I think the implications of that are, because I do think that it's kind of a big deal that we're starting to create like, you know, multiple options for all of these different important cards that exist inside the TCG, all of these common click plays. So, yeah, I think it's important that we understand that little piece of investing that they've added to the show. Like, you know, you can have this Ari, you can have this Ari, you can have this soda, you can have this soda. And that kind of adds to the depth of collecting and, you know, the ability to personalize how expensive you make your deck and things like that. So that is a big deal. We will talk about that later, but this video is specifically just about Vendetta. So jumping into it first, we're going to look at the first of the dueling art cards. So real quick, these cards, they go together. You can see them together. They're on that bridge inside the Arcane show where they had that duel. And this is kind of the separation between Piltover and Zon. Both of them being Zonites, but having some sort of relationship with Piltover, you know, deeper than all the other characters from Zon for the most part. So these characters look like they were animated out of a children's show, like a Disney XD show. It looks like, or this should be like Starlight, the Disney character. I don't know. I do not like the way that these cards look. They look cheesy and fake. They're interesting though. I think that, like, you know, but the stance on Jinx really is getting me, and it's like the animations and everything are just not. They're not artistic in my eyes. It's like an AI generated image to some capacity, and I'm not a huge fan of like the way that they're standing. It doesn't feel real. The artwork's still cool. The characters look cool. They're both liked characters. I'm going to say both of these are going to be at the top of B tier. I don't think they're the best dueling arts, but I think the fact that these characters exist in Vi and Jinx are going to carry those otherwise lackluster cards across the finish line. Looks like I'm slightly off here in where I put my Z. Or maybe we're just not seeing Shen yet. Okay, so let's go back over to the card library. We're going to go to page 2 or page 4 and look at what's next. So next we have Zed alone. We're not seeing Shen. Shen's sort of his counterpart. There's a Shen Zed deck that is like, you know, they're in this perpetual duel. One's defending, one's attacking. It's kind of an interesting concept. I like that. But we can't see what Shen looks like yet. It hasn't been revealed. It will be soon. But so this Zed card, very cool. I think this is significantly better in terms of, like, you know, you see him bursting from the shadows. It doesn't necessarily have that, like, claymation type feel that I feel like the Jinx and Vi card had. But interestingly enough, I don't think that this is unique enough. Maybe Zed's unique enough on his own to put him above Jinx and Vi, but I would say this probably slots in right below them. I think it's better artwork, just less character accessibility. And I'm not really sure exactly, you know. I'm going to try Akali with this new set just for reference as to the legend that I'm going to be using. I'm not sure exactly how good it's going to be, so I'm not really going to reference the card itself right now. But we're going to slot that into B directly below Vi and Jinx. It just seems right. Moving on, we're going to jump over to Jace, our boy, the man of progress. Let's see what he's got going on. When you play me, make a friendly character. So he's an interesting deck. I've heard that people think that Jace is going to be the best going into this new set. So I'm gonna play with that a little bit, knowing that that's the case. I actually think this card is really good, and just a little bit of future insight. I think that the Jace Legend is cool as hell. I'm not sure. I think it's really cool. There's all these hands coming in and grabbing him. You can kind of get a glimpse down here what it looks like. Very, very, very cool card. But this one, I kind of like the goo. It's interesting. It is what it is. I think this is going to be lower A tier. And with him being a more important card in this set, with people thinking that he's going to be a good card playing around gear and everything like that, I think that he's a solid A tier, to be honest. I think that the only reason why he wouldn't be A tier is because, I mean, Jace is kind of lame. I said it. What are you going to do about it? Fight me in the comments. Actually, you know what? Tell me why you think Jace is the man. The man of progress. Tell me right now in the comments. So his foe, Victor, they share a pretty spectacular kiss. So we gotta ask ourselves, it's the Vendetta. So we gotta ask ourselves, it's the Vendetta set. But like, are Victor and Jace really foes? Friends or foes? I guess your lover is the closest thing to your enemy canonically, right? Shit. But cool card. I'm actually not a fan of this like metallic, sexy Victor. And you're trying to tell me right now, I get what you're saying. That Victor's not sexy. Then why is his waist so hourglass? Just what I thought. Yeah, so I think that these cards kind of go together to some capacity. I think that Jace slots higher than Victor, but Victor's still a playable card. I assume this is probably a reprint. Victor's been around for a while. Okay, interesting one next. I really like Renekton and Nasus. I really like Renekton and Nasus. I think the Renekton art looks ever so slightly cooler. Let's jump over, let's check him out. So Renekton right here. I'm from a place called Colorado. What's up? What's up? What's up? But there's a amphitheater here called Red Rocks Amphitheater, and I don't know, this is a personal thing, but I also think these cards are really cool. I'm pretty sure this is Red Rocks Amphitheater. And like, they discovered dinosaurs for the first time, like dinosaur bones, I think a Stegosaurus skeleton, right next to Red Rocks Amphitheater. And it leads me to believe that this is supposed to be Red Rocks. Because this is I guess it's a crocodile. It's kind of a dino. I don't know. But either way, they're prehistoric. So it really leads me to believe that this was the intention, was to make this Red Rocks Amphitheater. Look it up if you're curious. This looks almost identical to the left side of the theater looking down. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But the cards themselves, they do look very cool. I like how there's little focus on making them sort of front-facing. Like the Nasus, I like that we're kind of seeing his back. Like, it makes me feel like they're more engaged. Like, it looks something like, I don't know. Jason Victor, you're doing this for us. This isn't for the battle. You guys aren't fighting each other. You guys are like it's like two people interviewing to a camera, talking to the camera. You know, so this one just feels more like organic, and they're fighting at Red Rocks, so it has to be real. I love those two cards. I think right now, in my opinion, those are my favorite dueling art cards. I know that they're not the most popular cards, like characters, Nasus, Renekton. I know they're not unpopular. I know Renekton gets a lot of pro play. Nasus is like the OG, who actually got himself some pro play this year, and it was kind of a big deal, kind of a pop-off performance. So, love you too. Mwah. Now let's move on to Renekton. These are cool. These are really cool. I like the way that we can see that, like, you know, Rengar kind of like rends and claws his way through things, but then the void is kind of what Kha'Zix is coming at you with. So it's like we see the two tiers of like cleaving destruction that these two monsters impose, their one-shot status, and it kind of like is portrayed through the card. I'll say this is 1,000 times better than Kha'Zix's legend card from last set. 1,000 times better. I think that I'm going to slot these directly below Renekton and Nasus. You guys are probably going to laugh at me and be like, this is Red Rock's Amphitheater bias. Yeah, it is. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Probably nothing. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to... Yeah, once again, very cool combo. I really like the artwork here. Rengar looks cool. This is an important card. Ambush. I can be played to a battlefield when there are enemies, where there are enemy units. Very interesting card. He's really able to sway the tide of things. You really don't want to fight a orange deck that has 5/1 ready to go, which just means 5 runes. You really do not want to fight a Rang or that deck knowing that that can come out. I have actually never seen this Kha'Zix before. I'm sure it exists, but it's not the Kha'Zix that people go to as their chosen champion. So a little less accessible. And now we have Gangplank. This is an interesting one. Gangplank and Alawi. These are both new cards, empowered. If a speller ability that chooses me would stun me, give me minus 3 instead. That's interesting. I feel like this card would just never get targeted. I'm not sure. But I really like the Soul Fighter style artwork that we're seeing here. If you guys play League of Legends, there's a set called Soul Fighter, and it has this sort of like reduced pixelation, sort of like a drawn art. It almost feels like a Demon Slayer. Like this, he literally is right now fire breathing. Pretty crazy. Is he sun breathing? What is his name? Tanjiro? I probably sound like an idiot right now. I do love Demon Slayer, but haven't watched it for a while. Movie's coming out on Crunchyroll soon. So we got Gangplank dueling with Alawi. I thought they were lovers. Maybe that's the theme. All these people are actually lovers. But cool cards. Really cool cards. I think, man, man, man. I'm making some changes. Where are these on my list too? Rengar Kha'Zix. Oh, Rengar Kha'Zix. Oh, I'm looking for these two. Okay, so these have to go here at the top of B tier. They're not like exceptional, but the artwork is very cool. I feel like these are characters that are going to be really underutilized. I think Gangplank sounds like he sucks. Alawi potentially could have some weird tentacle play. Okay, let's move on to Diana and Leona. These cards are very cool. Sadly, I think that I'm not really sure if I've ever seen this Diana. When you play a spell, give you +2 this turn. This sounds powerful with Ambush. I know that she's 3 might, 4 cost drop with a energy burn, so that's rough. But when you play a spell, give me +2 this turn. If you know anything about the Diana deck, you have one card out there virtually that you are just spamming spells on, or 2 cards, or whatever whatever it is, but you're spamming spells. So this makes a lot of sense. I feel like this is a really powerful Diana. I guess I'm not really sure why I haven't seen it, but I think that the artwork on these is pretty cool. I think Leona is also a card that I think that this is a very powerful card. Shield when I attack, stun an enemy unit there. It's like on defense she's powerful, on attack she's powerful. Just kind of an effective card. I really think that these are really 2 cool cards. I think this art is interesting. I think Diana and Leona's storyline together is interesting. Bottom of A tier. Bottom of A tier. They just don't have the. I mean, you guys are probably laughing at me with this Renekton Nasus thing, but I don't care. Mel Ambessa. Empower, I have Assault +2. Interesting cards. One thing that I think is going to make these cards less important is the fact that there is a significantly better Ambessa coming. And that Ambessa is coming with the T1 promo cards. So I feel sorry for this Ambessa. There's just too much Ambessa. Ambessa bulk, Ambessa, overload. This card just doesn't have a chance. And Mel is interesting. I think she's going to bring this pair up. See, maybe the pairs don't travel together like I think they do, because obviously they're independent of each other. But like the connected artwork, I think as far as a collector goes, and I want to reiterate that, as far as a collector goes, I think that it's important that there's some sort of like continuity between them. That's really interesting. I'm getting into the weeds. This video is going a little long, so let's speed it up. I think that they probably fall below Galio Alawi on here in the mid tier. Dang, I also realized there is just a saturation of overnumbered cards for the set. They're not lacking overnumbered cards for the set. It's quite overnumbered. Okay, so now we're moving on to the actual legends themselves, and I think this one is more so than last set, way more hit, but way less high hit. Like, I don't feel like there's a Diana style art. I don't feel like there's a Vex style art that really gives me that like shoopity poopity. Well, maybe let's just get into it and check them out. So I'll be honest, this is probably my favorite art in the set. It just gives me like this is a bad ass lady vibes. And Akali is also something that people are talking about right now, being the only red-green combo. Very cool. It'll probably have played just because of the fact that those are good colors together. Red is really aggressive, and green is really, defies, +2 mites. It's like really, really like, combat tricks oriented. So I think that that's going to go really, really good together with really aggressive, really good combat tricks. And if that doesn't scream Akali, I don't know what does. So that's awesome. Awesome fucking card. I really, 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 really like this card. Super cool. I'm throwing that my first S tier. We'll see how I feel that it ranks in as we go. I'm not too sure. But interestingly enough, following that is probably my least favorite overnumbered I've ever seen. What am I seeing? What am I looking at right now? This is absurd. This is so bad. I'm sorry if you're the creator of this and you're seeing this. If that actually does happen, Edgardo Monteon, my bad. It's not you as an artist. It's what you drew. Yeah. But then moving on from that, I don't want to dwell too much on the what I think is bad artwork. It just looks strange. It doesn't look like Renekton. It doesn't look appealing. It's not like something that I'd be like, oh yay, that got me. And then this one, like you go next, and it's like this thing is like towering over me. I really, really like the way this Zed looks. I think that this is an S tier card. I don't think that Zed's going to be a good card in this set, so I have a feeling I'm going to eat my words here. I have a feeling that this is a lot like Ivern, that Zed is going to fall into the bottom of the list because of the fact that he's not a great card. But look at this. Look at the artwork. This is so cool with signature, which we haven't seen yet. They haven't revealed signature yet. But when they do, right here, Jing, 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 Shen YH, going to be Shen drew Zed. Do you think Zed YH drew Shen? Oh, God. But good card. I think it's at the bottom of A tier. I think that there's going to be dueling cards that are better than this one. And now moving on to another one that I think that the artwork really carries the card. I think Nasus is going to be terrible. This sounds almost unplayable. The idea is cool, but being able to actually like incorporate that into your deck before you've lost, unlikely. Other people are just getting stuff for their cards. Like people are actually just getting buffs for having the fact that they have a legend. So this one feels really lackluster. I think we have our first C tier just because the artwork is powerful. Now moving on to Shen, I feel like he almost falls into the exact same category. Tap to give a friendly unit tank this turn. Oh, the most useful ability in Riftbound. It's not bad. I guess it stops some of your units from being targeted. And like you have your Shen Legend, which I feel like, or your Shen Chosen Champion, which I feel like people also don't really like. Interesting card. The artwork's cool. It's weird that he shaved his armpits. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I just didn't have it on my on my bingo card that I was gonna have a little smiley face shaved armpit Shen. It wasn't on my bingo card. But because of that, I actually believe that bottom of B tier. I think it's kind of a cool artwork. I think it's really cool. Even though Nasus is probably cooler. Oh God, that's how it goes. Okay, so we're moving into some more interesting ones. I think that this one, we still haven't seen the signature again, like I said. This is a very cool card, though. I'm not sure. It just kind of does it for me. Like, and it really, really, really is Arcane themed. Arcane is still probably more popular than Riftbound, but, maybe not into the future. But this card just screams Arcane. Like, all elements of it, you have, like, all of the different Victor hands reaching out to him. You have Mel's hand on his chest. All sorts of stuff. Really interesting looking card. Cool, striking. I think this is going to look awesome when we see it in Overnumbered. And it's Jace. If I were to slot everything realistically, I'd say Jace is probably number one, but I'm a man and I have needs, just like the rest of us men. I like jiggly women. Okay, moving on to Mel. This is a cool art. I think Mel is an interesting character. This reminds me of say LeBlanc from last set. I think that this is going to be an expensive card for a couple different reasons. Top of A tier. Very cool card. The art screams Blood Rose. I mean, it's red and there's roses. That's what's up. And then Ambessa. This screams Rengar from last set to me. It's like, I don't think this ability is powerful. I think this is one of the least powerful legend abilities that there are. Like, is it just a bad Aurelia? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not just a very bad Aurelia? I'm missing something. This just seems like a terrible Aurelia. I guess the color combination is different, but I think the color combination on Aurelia is ideal. So, not great there. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me hear in the comments why you think Ambessa is the bee's knees. She has really, really good chosen champions. I think that's one thing. She's going to have that T1 chosen champion style on people while you're beating them. But Man, if I don't think she's going to be like a lower B tier. Yeah. Okay, now a very interesting one. I have heard that people think that this character is disempower me, give a unit assault +2. We're going to have to see how these empower things all go. It's like a really, really, really interesting ability to like buff a card based on I don't know. You're putting a lot of your power into the future and hoping that the payoff is there. And we'll see how that all goes with how much support there really is for empowering. It seems like it might work, it might not, I'm not sure. But one thing I'm sure of is this Kennen Heart of the Tempest card looks fucking awesome. I think that this goes directly below. I can't do it. I can't do it with a. It's got to be like that. I want to look back at this and be as right as possible, so I got to do that. I have to. It's just so cool looking. And people really, really seem to think that this deck is going to work. I haven't really thought it through well enough to understand whether or not I think it's going to, but people do think it's going to. So, woe is me for trying to figure out, well, there's smarter people out there to tell me the answer. So, yeah, we're moving on to, and I'm not sure how to get these cards. From what I saw online, it said that they might be tournament winning cards, like you win a tournament or tournament entry cards or whatever it is, but needless to say, they are very cool. They are reprints of cards that have existed previously. So, like, this is the Kaisa from Origins. This is the Sona, I think, from Origins. Ari from Origins. Set from Origins. Ezreal from Spirit Forge. Origins. I'm not sure. But all of these cards are reprints, but they're very interesting. I'm going to go through them a little bit quicker. Only because we already... It's just, like I said, this is like more of an investment piece. It's like, which Sona do you go with? I think that these are like... depending on the quality of the card themselves. So I'll go through and I'll slot these, and then we'll just go through and take a look at them. All right, with those two placed, Ari is exploding in price. Also, if you guys have Ari anywhere chilling, Ari Inquisitive, bust it out, check it out, because that card is exploding in a way that makes me very, very comfortable for the future of, say, alt arts and things like that in Riftbound. Next, we have Set. This is a card that sees a little bit of play. I do feel like I'm not going to think that he has nearly as much play. Ezreal is something that's the same kind of thing. And Lux. Lux is looking more interesting because there's like Lux has the ability to have like an infinite loop, and it seems like it's becoming more viable. I think this is going to seal the deal, though, boys. I think this is where we're going to end it. This is what I think that the tier list is going to look like. So, if you disagree, suck it. Good for you. I think I'm right. Yeah, and max on, max off. Out.